What is up, guys? Welcome into a brand new video. Now today I'm going to show you how I personally score more runs on Cricket 24. A couple of tips that I've got. We'll go into a game. I'll show my controller. I'll kind of talk you through it. A couple of shots that I like to play. Before we get into it though, guys, if you could leave a like on the video, subscribe if you haven't already. It does massively help out the channel. We'll go straight into it and see how we get on. Right, we've got Mitchell Starc into bowl. Now the first thing I like to play, it's just a simple flick off the legs or a pull shot, whatever you want to do. It's an easy way to get a boundary. It's been in the game for years. Just a simple flick off the leg. You got to make sure that you get the timing right. As long as you get the timing right, you do need to be a little bit careful than you have in previous years, because if you are early on it, you will get an inside edge, which is then caught and bowled territory. Another shot that is incredibly safe is just a straight drive down the ground, especially with mid on and mid off up. At least get 2 or 3, sometimes 4, and it's absolutely fine. But you very rarely edge it. If the line is occasionally off, then you might find the edge on one of them. But if you just kind of so there, that might be a little bit too on the leg side. Maybe you want to go leg side with it. But yeah, as long as you keep, especially with if you're a right-handed batsman with a left-arm bowler, or a left-handed bat with a right-arm bowler, that'll be your easiest shots. If Stark was to come around the wicket, and I'll show you when we eventually get a right armour, which should be afterwards. It is a little bit harder. This is definitely the easiest way to play. Now, also what is very safe but doesn't quite have the same amount of power is kind of the big kind of lofted shot over the leg side. So see, I've now got 2 fielders on the leg side, so I kind of want to look for that gap if I can, and there it is. Flick it into the gap, and that'll be 6. That's a pretty easy shot. It's very hard to edge and miss time. You just have to remember that you don't necessarily get enough power on it, especially if the ball is on a good length. Then you're not going to be able to get the actual power on it to get through the ball. Now, a little bit more difficult. The most difficult shot in the game is obviously the cover drive, and if Pat Cummins was to bowl me one on the offside, that'd be fantastic. So yeah, to time, it's always going to be the cover drive to try and get away. So just getting short stuff now. Again, if you want to play short, of course, it's the right trigger or R2 if you are on PlayStation. Anything outside off, I tend to leave alone, just because I find trying to cut it, it's just a little bit too difficult. See, look, cover drive, inside edge, wasn't quite the right length. That's the ones you got to leave, I think. That's where I'd go with it. Personally, I'd leave those alone. Obviously, if you are playing a T20 or something like that, and you kind of have to play a shot to it, you can try and just kind of run one down to third man. I found that probably the most successful. Again, it's going to be a little bit harder with this field. You can go for the pull. They do move quite a lot outside off stump. Try and get it across as long as you got the right timing. The timing on this game, if you're moving from like Cricket 22 to Cricket 24, the timing seems to be a little bit later, especially for spinners. There it is. There's the cover drive. We don't quite get it through the gap, but it is playable, especially if you've got a tall batsman. If you've got a tall batsman, it does make it a lot easier. Okay, now spin is a little bit harder to do, just because the timing, the timing window of spin needs to be really difficult. But again, if I was you, I'd probably stick to the leg side. It's just really hard to try and play that cover drive. You want to be like, I don't know what's going on with the umpire here. You do want to try and be as late as possible. They haven't reviewed it. I mean, that was absolutely plumb. I don't really know what happened there, but so again, I'm early on it. I'm not getting any lift on it. I tried to play an aggressive shot there. Didn't quite get away. So if you do want to just take a step over to the leg side, again, I'm going to get one outside off. Again, that was an okay timing. Just be really careful with trying to play any drives to the spinners. Like, it's almost not worth it. You can go for a sweep, but again, I find it really hard to time any sweeps or reverse sweeps on this game. And it just doesn't, you don't all, if it's not the right length, you don't always get the right animation, and the animation, it just doesn't work. So just kind of try and stick to your leg side. There it is, just a little flick off the leg, pick up ones and twos, and just get by the spinners with that. If you do want to take them on, and there's an option to, straight down the ground isn't terrible. So it's quite straight here, so maybe I just want to go outside off and just go there. That is a very less of a risky shot than it is going over the cover or trying to do anything else with it. Again, if you go leg side and it's on a good length, you're going to lose some power. Same with the offside, but not as much. But that's kind of all the tips I have. If you do need to hit sixes, then the way you're going to try and hit a six is kind of going over point. Seems to be the easiest place to hit sixes at this point. So kind of point and cover. That offside shot is going to, I mean, I think that was an okay time. I didn't even time that perfectly. It was a bit back of the length, and it's a one bounce four, literally just dropped before the rope. So that's what I'd go for. It's kind of all the tips and tricks I kind of have. If you want to be safe, then go for the leg side shots, go for straight down the ground. If you want to be a little bit flashy and you want to put some time into it, can play some cover drives. Try to play it to the kind of fuller deliveries rather than the back of the length deliveries, because it is very easy to edge it this year, incredibly easy. So that's my kind of technique that I like to use when I'm batting. Now, my batting average in my career mode is, I don't know, 30 or something like that. So it's not great, but that's more of a temperament thing, as I can't leave the ball outside off. One thing that you do need to be careful about is Yorkers. If you don't time them pretty much perfectly and put them in the right place, you will get caught in the infield. That has changed quite a lot from last year. But yeah, if you can get your temperament right, you'll be absolutely fine on this game. But I think that is going to be kind of everything that I have of how to score some more runs on Cricket 24. I very much hope you enjoyed it. If you do have any questions or anything like that, just drop them down below in the comment section, and I'll try to get back to you as quick as possible. If you are struggling, as I said, if you want to score the most runs that you possibly can, stand outside, a foot outside off, flick it to the leg side, hit it down the ground. They're the two shots that kind of aren't going to get you out. Be careful with run-outs out there. The AI fielding is a lot better than it has been in previous years. So if you think there's two there and you're risking it, I'd just stick with one. You'll be able to get that one at some point. But I very much hope you enjoyed it. Please remember to leave a like. Please remember to subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.